Hi, good morning everybody. So now today my dear students we are going to start our new chapter ruling the countryside and it is the chapter number 3 of history. Now you can see the title itself saying that ruling the countryside. Ruling means to govern, to administrate, or to put pressure on a particular nation, on a particular state. And countryside means that here we will talk about our nation. Okay, so that in this chapter we will discuss how the Britishers governed the administration policies in our country and how they ruled our country. Okay, so now let's start. See, this is the picture of the Robert Clive accepting the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha from the Mughal ruler in 1765. Okay, so now we will first discuss about what was Diwani. Okay, so now let's read. The company becomes the Diwan. Okay, on 12th August 1765, the Mughal emperor appointed the East India Company as the Diwan of Bengal. The actual event most probably took place in Robert Clive's stand with a few Englishmen and Indians as witnesses. But in the paintings above, the event shown as a majestic occasion taking place in a grand setting, the painter was commissioned by Clive to record the memorable events in Clive's life. The grant of Diwani clearly was one such event in the British imagination. Okay, my dear students. So, like on 12 अगस्त 1765 को मुगल एम्परर बहादुर शाह जफर ने क्या कर दिया था बेटा, जो ये थे रॉबर्ट क्लाइव थे गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, ही वाज अपॉइंटेड एज द दीवान ऑफ बंगाल बिकॉज एट दैट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम द मुगल्स वर रूलिंग आवर कंट्री. ओके, एंड और इस मूवमेंट को कैप्चर करने के लिए जो रॉबर्ट क्लाइव के जो पेंटर थे उन्होंने उनको बुलाया और इस ऐतिहासिक पल को उन्होंने चित्र में कैद करने के लिए उनसे चित्रकारी भी करवाई थी. और ये सबसे बड़ा एक ऐतिहासिक पल था रॉबर्ट क्लाइव की लाइफ में कि उन्होंने अपने शासनकाल में रहते हुए वो बंगाल, बिहार एंड उड़ीसा के दीवान बन गए थे. ओके, सो एज दीवान द कंपनी became the chief financial administrator of the territory under its control. Now it had think of administrating the land and organizing its revenue resources. This had to be done in a way that could yield enough revenue to meet the growing expenses of the company. A trading company had also to ensure that it could buy the products needed and sell what it wanted. Okay, now so as we all know that now the Robert Clive has become the Diwan of Bihar, Bengal and Odisha. Now all the administration policies, rules and regulations, agreements and the decision making power were in the hand of the Britishers. So first they control the economical section of these provinces and they collect as much revenue as they can collected. Okay बेटा, उनसे जितना ज़्यादा collect हो सकता था उन्होंने उतना ज़्यादा किया. First like they increased the tax and then they captured over resources also. Okay, so over the years the company also learned that it had to move with some questions. Began being an alien power, it needed to pacify those who in the past had ruled the countryside and enjoyed authority and prestige. Those who had held local power had to be controlled, but they could not be entirely eliminated. How was this to be done? In this chapter, we will see how the company came to colonize the countryside, organize revenue resources, redefine the rights of people, and produce the crops it wanted. Okay, so like beta, with the rise of time, the Britishers also realized that there should be need to change the policies, the administration system and the rules and the regulations that they has imposed on the Indians. So what they did with the time, they did several changes in their administration policies, and later on what they did is just to take a some of the major precautions about their controlling power, about their governing power. Okay, so just like that, and in this chapter we will discuss that how the revenue process was going, how they control the rights of people, how they produce the crops, how they develop their interest in the sector of agriculture, in economic. Okay, so all these we will read about in this chapter. Now, first we will read about the revenue for the company. The company had become the Diwan, but it still saw itself primarily as a trader. It wanted a large revenue income but was unwilling to set up any regular system of assessment and collection. The effort was to increase the revenue as much it could and buy fine cotton and silk as cheaply as possible. Within 5 years, the value of goods bought by the company in Bengal doubled. So, before 1865, the company had purchased goods in India by importing gold and silver from Britain. Now, the revenue collected in Bengal could finance the purchase of goods for export. Okay, like what they did for the revenue to increase the company's revenue. Now the company had become the Diwan, but it still saw itself primarily as a trader. उस समय पे बेटा जो ये थे ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी, ये क्या बन गए थे, ये बन गए थे दीवान. और एंड दीवान मीन्स डेट द रूलिंग पावर, द रूलिंग हैंड. ओके, बट स्टिल दे कंसिडर themselves as a trader, and trader means व्यापारी. Okay, it wanted a large revenue income but was unwilling to set up any regular system of assessment and collection. उनके पास कोई collection नहीं हो रही थी, कोई उनके पास उस टाइम पे regular system नहीं था. The effort was to increase the revenue as much as it could and buy fine cotton and silk cloth as cheaply as possible. So what they first did, they first tried to collect the fine cotton and silk clothes as cheaply, मतलब कि जितना सस्ते दामों पे खरीदा जा सके उतने ज़्यादा सस्ते दामों पे वो खरीदेंगे और फिर इसको अपने देश ब्रिटेन में क्या कर देंगे, एक्सपोर्ट कर देंगे. ओके, नाउ विद इन 5 years the value of goods brought by the company in Bengal doubled. और अगले ही 5 साल में कि जैसे कि 1765 से 1770 तक आते जाते चीज़ों की कीमतें दुगनी होने लगी थी बंगाल में. ओके, and before 1865 the company had purchased goods in India by importing gold and silver from Britain. और यहाँ तक कि इन्होंने अपने देश से ब्रिटेन से गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर मंगवा के हमारे देश की सभी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को परचेज कर लिया था. जो भी हमारे देश में प्रोड्यूस होता था उन सबको ये खरीदने लग गए थे. ओके, नाउ द रेवेन्यू कलेक्टेड इन बंगाल कुड फाइनेंस द परचेज ऑफ गुड्स फॉर एक्सपोर्ट. अब इनके पास इतना ज़्यादा पैसा इकट्ठा हो गया था कि ये बंगाल, बिहार, उड़ीसा के साथ साथ जितने भी देश में प्रोविंसेस थी जहाँ इनका अंग्रेजों का राज था वहाँ पे ये आसानी से गुड्स और सर्विसेज को खरीद सकते थे और फिर अपने देश ब्रिटेन में वापस भेज सकते थे. ओके, नाउ soon it was clear that the Bengal economy was facing a deep crisis. और ये फिर साथ में एक पल ऐसा आया बेटा कि जब इनको ये खुद रियलाइज हो गया कि हम कर्ज में डूब रहे हैं, अब हमारे पास ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं रहा है. ठीक है, सो आर्टिशंस वर डेजर्टिंग villages since they were being forced to sell their goods to the company at low prices. Like the artisans, the craftspersons, the weavers, the trader and the merchants were forced by the company so that they can sell their product to the company at a cheaper price. Okay, and so the peasants were unable to pay the dues that were being demanded from them. Artisanal production was in the decision and agriculture cultivation showed signs of collapse. Then in 1770 a terrible famine killed 10 million people in Bengal. About 1/3 of the population was wiped out. So after what they realize is that कि भैया अब तो हम उसमें कर्ज में चले गए हैं and to get over it, what they did, they forced the weavers, traders, merchants, artisans, craftspersons and all other peasants and farmers just to sell their product to the company, and their company means the English East India Company or the British Army, so that they can buy them at cheaper rate and send them to their own country and sell there at a good price. Okay, but now what they did, even the peasants were unable to pay the dues that were being demanded from them. Like what they did, they had increased the taxes on agriculture sector also. And like then in 1770 a terrible famine killed 10 million people. ठीक है बेटा, 1770 में 10 million peoples were killed in Bengal. About one third of the population was wiped out. एक तिहाई जनसंख्या का हिस्सा बिल्कुल खत्म हो गया था भूखमरी से. ओके, लाइक कि उनके पास खाने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं था. ठीक है बेटा. सी नाउ this is a picture of a weekly market in Murashidabad in Bengal. Peasants and artisans from rural areas regularly came to these weekly markets, huts, to sell their goods and buy what they needed. These markets were badly affected during the times of economic crisis. Like beta, when the East India Company had borrowed every goods and services and controlled the nations, but at last what they faced financial economic crisis. वो कर्ज में डूबने लगे थे और कर्ज से उभरने के लिए उन्होंने हम पर ही दबाव डाला. Like what they did, they forced every section of our society to sell their products to them at a cheaper rate, and so that they can export them to their country and sell them at a good price, and from there they can recover from the economic crisis. Okay, so understood this? The need to improve the agriculture. So if the economy was in ruins, could the company be certain of its revenue income? Most company officials began to feel that investment in land had to be increased and agriculture had to be improved. Like to get over the financial crisis at that period of time, the one way was to the increase in the agriculture production and to improve the qualities of agriculture. So the British East India Company encouraged the peasants and agriculture to be improved. How was this to be done? After 2 decades of debate on the question, the company finally introduced the permanent settlement in 1793. Okay, so this is very important to you. Permanent settlement was started in 1793. By the terms of the settlement, the Rajas and Tulakdas were recognized as Zamindars. They were asked to collect rent from the peasants and pay revenue to the company. The amount to be paid was fixed permanently, that is, it was not to be increased ever in future. It was felt that this would ensure a regular flow of revenue into the company's coffers and at the same time encourage the zamindars to invest in improving the lands. Since the revenue demanded of the state would not be increased, the zamindar would benefit from increased production from the land. Okay, so now what the company did, beta, the company did, they introduced a program called the Permanent Settlement in 1793 by the Governor General Charles Cornwallis. Okay, Charles Cornwallis. He is the man who introduced the Permanent Settlement in 1793, and it was a procedure that all the Rajas, Nawabs, and the Tughlaqdas were be treated like a Zamindars, and they will collect the tax from the peasants after the harvesting of the crop, and they will pay a fixed amount of the revenue to the company. Okay, my dear, and when the amount will be given to the company, it will never be increased or never will be decreased in the future, so that a permanent amount of revenue will be deposited in the East India Company's bank. Okay, like it would be, there will be a regular flow of money and wealth. Okay, is that clear? And with this permanent settlement, both the East India Company and the Nawabs and the peasants were a bit happy, because neither they have to give more nor they have to give less, but amount was fixed that वो इतना तो देंगे ही देंगे. Okay. Now we will discuss about the problems. Okay, what were the problems? The permanent settlement, however, created problems. Company officials soon discovered that the zamindars were in fact not investing in the improvement of land. The revenue that had been fixed was so high that the zamindars found difficult to pay. Anyone who failed to pay the revenue lost his zamindari. Numerous zamindars were sold off at auctions organized by the company. Like the beta first problem they felt just because of the permanent settlement were like the zamindars were unable to pay that the amount which was fixed by the British army. Okay, like it was very difficult for the zamindars to give that amount of revenue for the Britishers, and in रिटर्न व्हाट द ब्रिटिशर्स डिड, जो उनकी ज़मीन होती थी बेटा उस ज़मीन की बोली लगवा के वो अपनी रेवेन्यू को अपने टैक्स को वहाँ से कलेक्ट करते थे और उसकी ज़मींदारी को छीन के किसी दूसरे ज़मींदार को वो ज़मींदारी दे देते थे, यानी कि वो ज़मीन दूसरे इंसान के पास चली जाती थी जो कि बोली में सबसे ज़्यादा बोली लगाता था और उस बोली का पैसा किसके पास जाता था, वो जाता था ब्रिटिशर्स के पास. ओके, like the first problem was that they were unable to some of the zamindars were unable to pay the amount fixed by the Britishers, and in return they had to lose their zamindaris in the auction. Okay, auction means boli lagana. Okay, by the first decade of the 19th century, the situation changed. The prices in the market rose and cultivation slowly expanded. This meant an increase in the income of the zamindars, but no gain for the company since it could not increase the revenue demand that had been fixed permanently. Okay, like पहले 10 साल में 1900 शताब्दी के पहले 10 साल में लाइक फ्रॉम दी 1801 टू दी 1810 दी सिचुएशन चेंज्ड और वहाँ पे परिस्थितियाँ बदलने लगी दी, और जो मार्केट में था बेटा मार्केट सेटअप होने लगे, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज एक्सचेंज होने लगे, और जो ज़मींदार थे, नवाब थे, राजाज थे, उनके पास पैसा आने लगा. जो पीजेंट्स थे, जो फार्मर्स थे, वीवर्स, ट्रेडर्स, आर्टिशंस वो थे, उनके पास पैसा आने लगा और मार्केट में भी पैसा फ्लो होने लगा बिकॉज गुड्स एंड services were being exchanged at that period of time, but it was all happened with this slow process. Okay, धीरे धीरे हो रहा था ये सब. Okay, and और बस इसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ इनका ही फ़ायदा था, जो ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी उसका कुछ भी फ़ायदा नहीं हो रहा था. और फिर यहाँ पे इसने क्या किया, सिंस इट कुड नॉट इंक्रीज अ रेवेन्यू डिमांड दैट हैड बीन फिक्स्ड परमानेंटली, और जस्ट बिकॉज कि पहले जो अमाउंट फिक्स हो गई थी कि भाई इतनी अमाउंट आपको देनी ही देनी है, वो अमाउंट वो इनको ब्रिटिशर्स को दे भी रहे थे, उसके बाद भी अपने लिए अपना प्रॉफिट बचा रहे थे. तो ये बात ब्रिटिशर्स से देखी नहीं जा रही थी. ओके, और बट वो भी क्या थे, मजबूर थे बिकॉज द परमानेंट सेटलमेंट सेज दैट दे विल नॉट इंक्रीज एनी अमाउंट ऑफ मनी इन फ्यूचर. ओके, third, so even the zamindars did not have an interest in improving the lands. Some had lost their lands in the earlier years of the settlement. Others now saw the possibility of earning without the trouble and risk of the investment. As long as the zamindars could give out the land to tenants and get rent, they were not interested in improving the land. Now बेटा जो इवन दी जो ज़मींदार थे जिनके पास ज़मीन मिली हुई थी वो भी अपनी ज़मीन की क्वालिटी को इम्प्रूव करने में बिल्कुल भी खुश नहीं थे, बिकॉज उनको जितना अमाउंट वहाँ से मिल रहा था अपनी एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर से, जो फसल उसके ऊपर उग रही थी, पक रही थी, और कटने के बाद वो उनको परमानेंट सेटलमेंट के अनुसार तय किया हुआ दाम भी दे रहे थे और उसके बाद अपने लिए प्रॉफिट भी बचा रहे थे. सो दे डिड नॉट थिंक ऑफ गेटिंग टू इम्प्रूव द क्वालिटी ऑफ द सोयल और द लैंड दे हैड, एंड इन रिटर्न सम ऑफ द जमींदार्स व्हाट दे डिड, दे पुट देयर लैंड ऑन रेंट एंड दे कलेक्ट द रेंट फ्रॉम द अदर पर्सन एंड गिव द अमाउंट टू द Britishers. So they were not interested in improving the land because they had a feeling कि just because कि that आधा इनके पास जा रहा है और आधा हमारे पास आ रहा है, तो जो जैसा चल रहा है वो चलने दें. ओके, so on the other hand, in the villages, the cultivator found the system extremely oppressive. The rent he paid to the zamindars was high and his rent on the land was insecure. To pay the rent, he had to often take a loan from the moneylender, and when he failed to pay the rent, he was evicted from the land he had cultivated for generations. So, my dear students, now the zamindars had to play a game even with the other zamindars कि जिनको उन्होंने अपनी ज़मीन रेंट पे दी है बेटा. कभी कभी क्या होता था, दी ज़मींदार्स हु वर हैविंग द लैंड ऑफ अदर ज़मींदार ऑन रेंट, दे वर अनेबल टू पे द रेंट जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द not getting the good quality of crops and selling and not getting the good price in the market. So just to pay the rent of the land, they had to pay they had to take the loan from the money lenders, the private money lenders, on a high rate of interest, and in return what they did, they put their land and then they pay the tax and the rent टू दी मैन हु ओन्स दी लैंड। और अगर कभी बाय चांस वो पैसा देने में बिल्कुल ही वो जाते थे, फेल हो जाते थे, तो वो उनसे उनकी ज़मीन तो उनकी होती थी पहले ही, बट जो फसल उन्होंने उगाई है, जो तैयार की है, वो क्या कर देते थे, वो उनको उसे वापस ले लेते थे। ओके और आगे के लिए भी उनको ज़मीन नहीं देते थे। ओके सो नाउ दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट द परमानेंट सेटलमेंट, एंड इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियोस वी विल डिस्कस about the new concept of Malwadi and the Munro system. Thank you. I hope you have watched the video. Thank you.